What could have been Iron Man Dr. Doom switch up? Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom swap life paths, either due to circumstance, origin change, or even a literal mind-body switch. What if Tony Stark was Dr. Doom? Tech genius plus ego plus no moral compass equals doomier doom. Stark still has the brilliance, but without the grounding influence of the cave experience in Afghanistan, or if that experience made him bitter instead of noble, he could have leaned into arrogance and control. Instead of Iron Man, he could have used his tech to rule. A corporate technocrat turned tyrant who wears a metal suit not to protect the world, but to dominate it. Stark as ruler of Latveria, a high-tech utopia dystopia. The armor would be sleeker, more high-tech, less mystical, unless he dabbled in magic too, which he could, given how adaptable he is. He might run the country like a corporation, Doom Tower instead of Stark Tower. Enemies. Reed Richards would probably still clash with him, except now it's Tony's intellect versus Reed's, not Victor's. He might view the Avengers as threats to his perfect system. For those of you who have already subscribed over the last couple of months, thank you guys so much. We've been gaining subscribers here at Maxiverse Twist, and if you have not already, I also noticed that 99.6% is watching in this channel have not yet subscribed already. I would just kindly invite you to do so. It's like the #1 thing you can do to support me as a content creator in the channel. And of course, you gotta be subbed to see more latest updated videos. What if Dr. Doom became Iron Man? Doom's redemption arc. Imagine Doom's intelligence and drive, but channeled through the trauma Stark faced, captured, forced to build a weapon, then turning toward heroism. Doom might still be arrogant, but he could genuinely believe he is the best hope for humanity. Tech meets sorcery meets justice. Doom as Iron Man would blend armor and arcane power. He might still wear a mask, not out of shame, but as a symbol of identity and power. Personality twist. He'd still be authoritarian, but perhaps not evil. More of a necessary evil kind of hero. Would probably clash with the Avengers over methods, but might work with them. Marvel has toyed with this idea before. Infamous Iron Man, 2016. After Tony Stark's apparent death, Victor Von Doom actually takes up the mantle of Iron Man, trying to be a hero. It's a whole arc of redemption, identity, and what it means to be good. What if? Series ideas. No official what if Stark became Doom, but it's perfect alternate timeline or MCU. What if? Fodder. Can you imagine? Iron Man in green cloak and dark steel armor ruling over Latveria like a futuristic monarch. Dr. Doom as a morally gray Iron Man battling Mephisto-level threats with magic and arc reactor fusion. MCU Multiverse Saga could totally pull this off. Would Tony Stark still become a hero if he had Doom's upbringing? If Tony Stark had grown up with Victor Von Doom's upbringing, the outcome could have been wildly different and a lot darker. Doom's childhood was marked by loss, poverty, and a burning need to master both science and sorcery to protect and eventually control his world. Swap Stark into that environment, and suddenly you've got a kid with the same genius-level intellect, the same massive ego, but way more trauma and no safety net. Tony, even in his original story, walks a fine line between savior and tyrant. He starts out as a weapons dealer profiting off war, and it takes being kidnapped and nearly killed for him to turn things around. That spark of redemption is what keeps him on the side of the heroes. But if you remove the privilege, the support systems, like Pepper, Rhodey, or even Jarvis, and replace them with tragedy, isolation, and a hunger for control, that same mind could spiral. With Doom's life, Stark would likely still pursue technology, but he wouldn't stop there. He'd obsess over magic if he thought it could fix what he lost. You could imagine him creating arcane-powered armor, spell-enhanced reactors, or even trying to bend time and reality to undo the past. But it wouldn't be about power for power's sake. It would be about fixing things, no matter the cost. He wouldn't necessarily see himself as a villain. Like Doom, he might truly believe the world needs someone like him in charge. Someone smart enough, strong enough, and willing to make the hard calls. In that sense, he could end up more of an anti-hero or a tyrant with good intentions. Not the I am Iron Man we know, but something closer to I alone can save you. A techno-sorcerer king ruling from a throne of logic and regret. Ultimately, Tony Stark with Doom's background wouldn't just be dangerous, he'd be terrifyingly effective. And the scariest part? He'd probably still think he was the hero of the story. Would Dr. Doom use magic as Iron Man? When Dr. Doom dons the Iron Man mantle, it's not just a change of armor, it's a fundamental shift in what the suit means. Doom isn't limited to science the way Tony Stark is. He's a master of both technology and sorcery, and if he chooses to become Iron Man, he brings all of that mystical power into the equation. Unlike Stark, who tends to treat magic with skepticism, Doom sees no division between the arcane and the mechanical. He would almost certainly infuse the Iron Man suit with enchantments, protective wards, and possibly even demonic or dimensional energies. In Doom's hands, the armor becomes something far more than a high-tech exosuit. It becomes a conduit of both intellect and arcane might. He could enhance its defensive systems with magical shielding, lace the repulsor beams with spellcraft to disrupt magical entities, and design an arc reactor that doesn't just power the suit, but draws on ley lines or extra-dimensional sources. It's easy to imagine him embedding runes along the armor's chassis or using magical AI familiars, living programs bound by spells, not code. And when it comes to combat, Doom wouldn't stop at battling earthly villains. He'd take the suit into realms Stark rarely dared to tread, whether it's fighting demons in deep space, confronting cosmic horrors, or traveling to other dimensions to impose his will. Doom would see the armor as a vehicle for conquest and cosmic balance, on his terms. This version of Iron Man wouldn't just defend the world, it would seek to reshape it, to eliminate chaos through dominion. Doom wouldn't see this as tyranny. He would see it as salvation through superiority. Ultimately, Dr. Doom as Iron Man wouldn't just use magic. He would redefine what Iron Man is, blending the mystical and the mechanical into something Stark never fully envisioned. And in doing so, he'd become a symbol not just of genius, but of unchallenged will. If Tony were raised in Doom's shoes and ended up ruling Latveria, it's hard to imagine him completely walking away from it. His instinct might not be to love the country the way Doom does, but he'd probably see it as a system to optimize. Tony wouldn't rule with mystical authority or fear like Doom. Instead, he'd likely transform Latveria into a hyper-efficient, ultra-modern technocracy. Think smart cities, automated defense grids, arc reactors powering every village, surveillance drones keeping crime near zero. A corporate feudal blend where he acts as a kind of CEO king. Less all hail Doom, more welcome to Starkveria. But while the infrastructure would be sleek and the quality of life could be high, freedom might still be tight. Tony, shaped by Doom's traumatic upbringing, could grow into someone who believes his way is the only way. If he thinks Latveria needs saving, he'll do it, even if it means overruling the people to protect them from themselves. If Dr. Doom becomes Iron Man, Victor Von Doom becoming Iron Man raises a huge question. Would he walk away from Latveria? And the answer is, almost certainly not. Even as Iron Man, Doom's sense of identity is tied to Latveria. It's not just a homeland to him, it's a legacy, a personal responsibility, and often a justification for his actions. If Doom became Iron Man, the suit wouldn't change that. In fact, he might use it as an upgrade for his rule. Latveria would benefit from the tech of Stark merged with Doom's command of sorcery, making it the most secure, advanced, and magically protected nation on Earth. Doom would still see himself as Latveria's guardian, possibly even more so now that he's wielding Stark-level tech. He might frame his role as Iron Man as an extension of his leadership, protecting not just Latveria, but the world, because no one else is qualified. He wouldn't wear the armor to become a hero in the way Tony did. He'd wear it to prove that he can outdo Stark, protect his people better, and rule more effectively. For Doom, the Iron Man armor would be another symbol of his superiority and a weapon to enforce it. Both men, no matter what roles they take on, ultimately see themselves as saviors. But their approaches to Latveria reflect their deepest selves. Stark as Doom, a benevolent technocrat with a god complex, ruling with code and circuits instead of spells and fear. Doom as Iron Man, a sorcerer king in armor, still obsessed with control, still loyal to his people, just wrapped in a shinier, sleeker shell. Latveria survives in both cases, but what it means under each man would be radically different. Would either of them be capable of love or relationships in this new role? With Doom's background, Tony Stark's emotional landscape changes dramatically. Growing up in an impoverished, hostile environment, experiencing personal loss, and being shaped by a relentless pursuit of power and control, he would likely become far more emotionally closed off than the version of Stark fans know. Tony has always been capable of love. His relationships with Pepper Potts, Peter Parker, and his closest friends show a man who can care deeply. But in the role of Doom, those same instincts would be buried beneath a hardened exterior shaped by trauma and obsession. He might view love as a vulnerability, something that distracts from the mission of control, perfection, and legacy. If he did engage in romantic relationships, they would likely be transactional, strategic, or strained, rarely built on emotional openness. There might still be moments of genuine affection, but they would be overshadowed by his need to maintain dominance, to protect himself from being hurt, and to remain in control at all costs. In this role, Tony could love. But love would come with conditions, limitations, and often regret. True vulnerability would be rare, if not impossible. Victor Von Doom, as Iron Man, enters new emotional territory. The Iron Man identity carries with it not only the legacy of technological brilliance, but also themes of redemption, accountability, and evolution, concepts that have traditionally been foreign to Doom's worldview. Wearing the Iron Man armor might initially serve Doom's ego, a statement that he can be better than Stark at being Stark. However, over time, the role could challenge him to confront aspects of himself he's long repressed. Unlike Tony as Doom, who becomes more closed off, Doom as Iron Man might slowly begin to open up. He has felt love before, toward his mother, Valeria, and others, but it's always been twisted by his pride and desire for control. The armor could serve as a kind of symbolic mask, one that allows him to explore vulnerability in ways he never could as the Monarch of Latveria or the Supreme Sorcerer. In this role, Doom might learn to see love not as a threat, but as a strength, something he doesn't need to dominate or protect from the world. Relationships would still be difficult for him, but there's a greater chance for growth. He might form bonds with others who see past his reputation, who recognize the complexity of the man behind the mask. 2. Paths to love. Tony as Doom would still be capable of love, but it would be twisted by fear, control, and emotional walls. His relationships would likely suffer under the weight of his obsession with perfection and security. Doom, as Iron Man, would be the more likely of the two to change emotionally. The role of Iron Man could challenge him to rethink power, ego, and connection, making him more capable of forming sincere, transformative relationships. Both men carry emotional weight, but only one, ironically, Doom, might learn how to put it down. That's all for today's video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, be sure to subscribe for more exciting Maxiverse Twist content.